Timon United was a project that one day one of our players, Rafa Nascimento, came up to my office. I was running regular operations at my radio station, and he said, "Presidente, I have a dream. We should have a professional team here in Des Moines, and these are the steps." At that point, I was like, "You're crazy. You know, I mean, it's just too big of a project." And this is back in 2017. This all started. This whole project called Timon United, now Iowa Demon Hawks, started with a dream of providing opportunities to our local players in our city of Des Moines. All those players that otherwise would have just stayed playing locally and had an opportunity. So that's how it all started. It started as a dream and as a full vision. We always had the mission to be a big team, and that whole thing had a process that people think Demon Hawks started 4 months ago, and it had, yes, the biggest growth occurred 4 months ago, but it was a process that took us 4 to 5 years in the making, and a process that I'm extremely proud of, a process that we went through everything. We went through having to push a bus on one of our games back in on a play that we played in Wichita, Kansas 5 years ago, to putting a team together, to recruiting players from all over, to not having to doing all kinds of things on our own to make this happen. You know, now it feels great to have accomplished that dream, and just to give you a little story, when we joined the professional indoor scene 2 years ago, we had no home. We did not have a place to play at. You know, we decided to share the arena with Cedar Rapids on a market that wasn't even ours. We had to rebrand the project to be Iowa Demon Hawks rather than Timon United, simply because we were playing somewhere else. We did not have the structure. We had the players, but we did not have the right leadership in place. And even with great players that we had back then, we didn't even make it to the playoffs. It was devastating last year to be able to see, to fail in a way, but we knew it was part of a process. And that had to happen for us to become a stronger team. Some of the things that we put in place this year, at the beginning of this year, was like, what do we need to make this dream a reality? Well, we need to have a connection with our city. We need to get the people, the audience involved. We need to put together a very competitive team, and we need to bring the leadership required to get that going. And I think, and we started with one motto. We started with a phrase. We started with a phrase that now it's the main mission of our team, which is one city, one team, one family. We figure that both people on and out of the field were extremely important to make this a reality, and I think we accomplished it throughout the season. I'm very grateful to count with the help of Thiago Coutinho, which happens to be the National Brazilian 7v7 coach, the leadership of J.R. Fernandez, a person in the market for over 30 years that everyone knows, people like Rafa Nascimento, Gustavo de Souza, a lot of the local players that were with us from the beginning, and then being able to combine all that local talent with top-notch players like Ricardo Diegues, Thiago Freitas, Heiner House, that were already playing on our first division level, and then putting that together into like a melting pot. That's what we were able to accomplish on this season, and I'm very happy to be part of it.
a minha chegada aqui foi maravilhosa, fui muito bem recebido pelo Darwin, por todos que estavam cá. Thiago Freitas, que já tinha trabalhado também comigo na seleção, no Pan-Americano, né, entre outros, né, que me receberam aqui também muito bem. Foi eu só agradecer pela recepção. E a preparação, a montagem do grupo, ela foi se dando a cada dia. Né? Eu também tenho uma visão um pouco diferente sobre futebol, eu gosto muito da parte tática, técnica, onde conversei muito com o meu auxiliar, que é o Thiago, sobre uma implantação, sobre um modelo novo dentro do indoor, algo também que gerou vários debates, várias conversações, mas eu creio que seria algo muito positivo, algo que a gente já acontece na nossa seleção brasileira, e implantar aqui seria um novo desafio. E eu vejo também como uma cultura nova aqui. Aqui não existia o indoor, a gente traz o indoor para cá como uma casa nova, uma proposta nova, um modelo de jogo novo, uma equipe nova em relação ao ano passado. Então, ver um desafio sendo criado, vendo algo novo ser criado, foi maravilhoso. A recepção do Darwin para comigo e para com todos é fantástico. Ele realmente é a alma e o coração desse time.
Number 8, Thiago Freitas. Transmission by somebody.
I will go reach out to Golazo por parte de Freitas, mira donde la puso, papá de Martillito, qué bonito, qué golazo, compadre.
What a surprise, what a surprise.
And Austin again with the ball, this kid is amazing. Up here,
It's everywhere.
it's everywhere.
Golazo!
Por parte del número 8, Thiago Freitas.
Quando cheguei aqui com a minha família, a primeira coisa que me passou na cabeça foi o frio. Tem muito frio aqui, é um pouco difícil. E fomos se acomodando, começou a chegar os jogadores. Como eu era auxiliar do Thiago, eu tinha um contexto de indoor, ele tinha um contexto de futsal e a gente discutia muito assim, muitas coisas. Mas foi bom isso no começo, porque a gente começou a se entender depois e começamos a seguir, ele dando sempre a última palavra, mas eu tentando passar um pouco melhor para ele colocando o padrão dele no time, e ficou perfeito e o time só foi crescendo, porque tem coisas que vêm para melhorar, né? Então eu tentei passar minha experiência para ele em relação ao indoor e ele tentou passar a experiência do futsal. E assim, os dois se uniu e deu muito bom. Então, em relação ao time, eu já conheci alguns, bastantes, né? Mas o tryout que a gente fez, conseguimos trazer muitos jogadores bons daqui da cidade. E isso fez grande diferença. Porque o ano passado, nós tínhamos alguns jogadores da cidade que vinham pro time, mas não vinha para agregar. Vinha mais para discutir, tentar fazer algumas coisas diferentes. E esse ano não. Esse ano, todos os jogadores que vieram da cidade, todos se uniram ao propósito que era ser campeão. Então, acho que essa foi a grande diferença também.
Starting this type of a project here in Des Moines wasn't only putting a brand new team together, bring new leadership in, but it was introducing a brand new culture and a brand new way of playing soccer in our city. You know, I mean, it was no longer 11 versus 11. It was indoor soccer in a hockey arena, what a hockey game is. and introducing and letting people know that it was something worth watching.
With no space in Des Moines available last year, the Des Moines Demon Hawks kicked off their inaugural season in Cedar Rapids. But now just 1 year later, they're going to be starting on the arena ice behind me. And that's ahead of their big season opener. The Bucks may be practicing in their Urbandale Arena today, but come Friday, the rink will host a completely different team, the Iowa Demon Hawks indoor soccer team.
So it wasn't just putting a team together like you put regularly a 11v11 team. It was a complete different culture, a different way of doing things, and securing an arena and securing a home was vital for the success of this project. And I have nothing but gratefulness for the people over at the Buccaneers Arena that made this possible. And I'm very happy that now we have a home that we call the Nest, that people know that it exists, and very happy with everyone that's involved in the project. You know, it wasn't an easy thing. It wasn't an easy thing from figuring out how to convert a hockey arena into a soccer field, how to get the right people to do it, how to figure out. We went as far as trying to find out how to avoid the turf from sticking to the ice. All that was very nerve-wracking. Literally 3-4 hours prior to our opening night on December 8th, we were still in the limbo whether or not we were going to have the game that night, because we were not 100% prepared. So it was a very nerve-wracking experience.
Dizer que a ansiedade nossa estava a 1000 por hora antes do primeiro jogo. Estreávamos em casa, para o público, para todos aqui era algo muito novo, mas a equipe, uma semana antes, a gente conseguiu treinar, conseguiu implantar todo o modelo. Era uma equipe muito talentosa, várias pessoas que chegaram para complementar, mas tinha naquele íntimo, aquela dúvida se ia acontecer, se as coisas iriam dar certo, como o público iria reagir, como as trocas iriam acontecer, se o modelo era o modelo certo, como era. Mas, pela graça de Deus, estreamos muito bem com a vitória, e onde deixou muito mais aliviado, não só meu coração, mas da diretoria, da presidência, dos jogadores. E assim foi dando sequência, o segundo jogo, o terceiro jogo, o quarto jogo. Todos os jogos em dezembro foram jogos de vitória, um mês maravilhoso, A gente, um mês de Natal, todo mundo sai de lá presenteado e feliz com a bênção que Deus deu pra gente.
know, after what happened in December, you know, by that time the team was already a family. The audience was supporting. I was extremely happy. But then we had a meeting. We had a meeting with all of the, with all the staff and some of the main players, and we were like, you know what? The next phase or the next games that are going to be away games are going to be extremely, extremely hard. Why? Because there were two things that occurred. I mean, a lot of these teams came to play us during Christmas and during New Year's weekend. A lot of those teams did not have their best players in place to play us during the winter game. So we were like, not only are we going to go play Ambush, which is a team with an affiliation to an M1 team, and it's gonna probably have a lot of stars playing with them, but we're gonna go play our worst enemy or rival, called the Raptors, and they're gonna be ready for us, and they're gonna be a tough team. When we went to our first game against the Raptors, it was nerve-wracking. They started winning the game. They started scoring on us 2 goals. And I was like, wow, this is going to be a long night. But witnessing that those were the only 2 goals that they were able to make in the entire game and ending a game 16-2 against Iowa Raptors and setting a standard, playing the way we were playing, was an extremely happiness for the entire team. And it just solidified what the project was all about. After that, when we went and visited Muskegon, which was a big shout out to Muskegon, great organization with our friend Matt. When we went there in their house with their people, by far, hands down, one of the best audiences in the entire league. And not only went there, but won 2 games back to back and got the respect from their audience, was amazing. So it was a great journey. All of our away games were amazing. I'm really happy about that. And then looking forward to coming back to the nest and finishing strong with the last 2 games.
Fomos jogar fora e isso criou uma grande ansiedade no time, porque nós estávamos jogando em casa, já estávamos acostumados com o campo, tudo, então nós criamos uma grande expectativa, mas com receio ainda de não ter jogado fora. Então esse jogo contra o Raptors estava na nossa cabeça assim, o que vai ser o nosso time daqui para frente? E aí mostrou o que ia ser o nosso time. Nós chegamos lá no primeiro jogo de fora que foi contra o Raptors, e ganhamos 16-2. Então isso mostrou que o nosso time estava muito à frente de tudo e de todos. Mostrou que além do timaço que a gente tinha a organização, nós tinha a formação, nós tinha tudo, que o treinador Thiago ele conseguiu passar tudo para nós. Então totalmente diferente de todos os times. Então isso fez o nosso time crescer cada dia mais. Então daí os outros jogos que começamos a jogar fora foram só mais aprendizado que a gente foi jogar em Muskegon, que para mim foi um jogo mais difícil que teve, porque lá é muito difícil jogar, um time muito bom. Eu gosto do time do Muskegon, E foi uma dificuldade, foi onde que nós passamos mais apertado em relação às partidas. Então, depois daqueles 2 jogos que nós jogamos fora em Muskel, acho que o time dali nós já saímos totalmente mais forte e já pronto para os playoffs. Aí a gente começou só a organizar o time mais e se unir mais para a preparação para os playoffs.
Coming back to the Nest in the games of March was very challenging from a marketing standpoint because it felt like we had to start from scratch. You know, I mean, we were 2 months without playing at home. People were like, where is Demon Hawks? Yes, we continue winning on our away games, but it was very challenging. It was very challenging to get people to trust the project back after 2 months being out. And so we put all of our gears in place together with La Q Buena and our social media efforts and continuing our engagement with the community. So off the field was very challenging. Once again, we were able to pull it off. There were very important games. There were games that not only gave us the championship of our region, of the North region for the MASL, but also guarantee us the number 1 spot in the nation to go to the playoffs in a better situation. Both of those things got accomplished. By that time, the team was literally a family. I mean, they were hanging out together. People were engaging with the team. We had a very good crowd, especially on our very last game of the season. People started yelling "Cuckoo" left and right. We came up with new chants. It was definitely an experience. It was definitely something that I'm very proud of. And not only did we secure the number 1 team in the nation position, but we became champions of the North Division, and that made me really happy. Again, lots of challenges in the way. We were able to beat our besties, the Raptors, 20-2 on this second time. Cuckoo! And just very happy, very happy. I have nothing else to say.
Chega, né, o tão esperado playoff. A gente faz uma campanha maravilhosa, se classifica em primeiro lugar no nacional, como recordista de pontos, e começa a preparação. Essa preparação para os playoffs, a gente utiliza uma frase que já há muito tempo utilizo ela, né? O grande campeão é aquele que está disposto a fazer tudo aquilo que os outros não estavam dispostos a fazer. Portanto, faça. E foi o que a gente tentou fazer. A equipe, a presidência, a direção, né, toda a equipe tentando fazer tudo aquilo que realmente a gente podia fazer para ser campeão. Os treinos, dedicação, descanso, fisioterapia, estudar os adversários. E a nossa chegada lá foi fantástica, um ambiente maravilhoso. O grupo realmente chega nos playoffs com um grupo coeso, um grupo unido, algo que foi construído durante toda a temporada, e a gente chega como uma família, né? Isso aí foi um lema, né? Uma cidade, um time, uma família, e a gente realmente sentiu esse ambiente de família, de um time representando uma cidade. O primeiro jogo foi aquele primeiro jogo ansioso que a gente gostaria de ver como é que seria, de tirar aquela ansiedade, e graças a Deus fizemos uma bela partida, saímos de lá vencedores e pegaríamos um time que até então não teríamos jogado, né, que era o Bombers. e eles também não tinham jogado o primeiro jogo, então vinha descansado. Então era um jogo que a gente sabia que seria um jogo mais difícil, um jogo mais truncado, mas começamos arrasador, um jogo, iniciamos com um placar quase de 6-1, 6-2 e durante o jogo tivemos algumas complicações, mas né, em meio de brigas, confusões, saímos vitoriosos, né, em nenhum momento a gente ficou atrás do resultado e esse jogo para mim foi um jogo de extrema importância, porque vencemos em vários aspectos, vencemos no aspecto tático, no aspecto individual, coletivo, e a gente chegaria, eu tinha certeza que a gente chegaria mais forte para a final depois desse jogo.
Our way to playoffs. Great home games, great away games, great coming back to the nest. Champions of the North Division, 156 goals, number one in the nation. Going to playoffs was a big responsibility because I think it was like people were expecting for us to be the champions. There was that extra stress that not a lot of the other teams had. On our way there, on our during the road trip to Wichita, Kansas, we were discussing, that we had to do every single thing. We were discussing it with Coach Thiago Coutinho that a real champion is someone that dares to do stuff or things that others don't want to do. And from the start, we decided to do that. We said, unlike other teams, we need to have daily meetings, watch videos, figure out the strategy of each of the teams, have a recovery strategy in place. That means having ice for the players, a good lunch, good breakfast, very good ambience. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing to see the team really bonding as a family. When last year, when we were competing, there was fights and there were, people, everybody was in different rooms. This time around, during our playoffs weekend, you would see 12, 13 players in a room just hanging out, just watching videos, laughing, making jokes. It was really a family. It was like amazing, when we played our first team, which was Ambush. We knew it was gonna be a tough game. They had a whole bunch of M1 players, a complete different team than from the past. Being able to break their defense, continuing playing with the same strategy that we played all along, and then being able to win that game and go to semifinals was a great accomplishment. The game versus Amarillo Bombers, by far the hardest game of the playoffs, where there was fights, there was pushing, there was goals, great goals from the other team, and seeing our team, that game was something else. Like, we were 5-0, and then these guys went to 5-1, and then there was a point where we were 6-5, and I was almost having a heart attack on that game. But it was one of the games that I enjoyed the most because it showed the courage of the team, how they were playing, how there was a fight towards the end of the game. It was everything that a perfect soccer game would have. And then the next day, of championship game, we all woke up early in the morning. There was a session where the entire team was completely focused. Watched the video of our rival for that night for the championship game. At that time, I had no doubt. I figured, we've done all these things. We've done every single thing that had to be done. The stress went from being here, the first game of the season, to being right here. I mean, there was absolutely no stress prior to going to the arena that night. When we got to the arena, you could see the positive, you know, how the players were like eager to get down on the field. There was a really amazing moment prior to coming out of the locker room where our coach Thiago, throughout the season, I always would see Thiago put some sort of spray. At first, I thought it was some sort of witchcraft, you know, like amuleto. I don't know how you say that in English, but that night I found out that it was the lotion of his little kid that would remind him every time he would compete and reminded him of him. But it was simply a lotion from his kid. And when I saw him cry and saying, and putting it on his hands and rubbing it into his neck and saying, I'm doing this because of my son, and then telling the entire team to say, do it, you choose who you do this for. I started thinking about my dad, I started thinking about my mom, I started thinking about all the struggles that we went through when we came to this country. And I realized that that moment was huge for me, because it took me back to everything that we had accomplished. So when I came to the US, and then having my friend, I'm sorry, because I'm crying, we should cut this or not. Having my friend Adrian telling the players, imagine the best time or the best day of your lives or your biggest accomplishment, and then go to that moment and walk into a circle once you remember that moment. When I saw that happening, I had no doubt in my mind that we were gonna win that game. When the players started coming out of the locker room, it felt like there were horses ready to come out to the biggest race of their life. I was like, there's no way we're gonna lose this game. And watching them play the way they played, and I know that in the mind of every single player, their family was with them, including our coach, including everybody that was involved. And watching them play the way they did just made me proud, and made me really have a beautiful taste on this championship. Do I feel we reached the top? That's a good question. You know what? I see it this way. I imagine Iowa Demon Hawks literally being a hawk, just flying in a valley, and then getting on top of that mountain that symbolizes their initial goal, and then getting on top of that mountain and looking up and realizing that they're really in the middle of a big valley with bigger mountains in there, you know? Like, I don't think we reached the top. I think we reached an important step in our future vision and an entire vision of the project, but not necessarily think we reached the top. I think we reached a very important step in the project, and I want to share with you guys a phrase that a mentor and, well, being my dad, told me many years ago. And it reads like this: life is made of dreams, and dreams are like reaching the top of a mountain, because when we reach the top, God gives us the vision of other and bigger mountains so that we can dream bigger and bigger. Basically, God gives you, once you reach a certain top, God gives you the vision to be able to watch other mountains to get bigger and bigger things. So no, I guess if you ask me what that question, I don't think we reach our full potential. I think we're gonna get higher and higher and higher, and I have nothing but appreciation and gratitude for this beautiful market of Des Moines, because yes, we are one city, one team, one family. With courage, passion, and fire, we're gonna continue reaching different tops in many more years. So, to be continued.